Live from the Average Joe Nation studios in St. Clair, Missouri. This is the Average Joe Podcast, a show that proves that in this crazy world, a combination of common sense and a C+ average is actually a superpower. Sure, he's crazy, but what if he's right? Please welcome your host, Damon Gilbert.
I did not watch the State of the Union last night, and I was really glad I didn't. I actually watched Stripes, which was hilarious. You know, Bill Murray and it was, and John Candy. Wonderful, wonderful movie. That kind of movies we'll never see again. But it was interesting. My wife had never seen it, which I thought was amazing. She'd never seen it, but I just couldn't watch. I couldn't watch the State of the Union. I can't. It doesn't matter who's in office. It's just so boring. And I mean, I'm a political guy. I love politics. But it just lie after lie. And it doesn't matter who's in office. I mean, it could be Trump. It could be Biden. It could have been Bush, Clinton. It's all nonsense. You've got partisans split right down the middle, basically, within reason. And then you've got your standing ovations for stuff that the Democrats love. And then it's like, what can I compare it to? Rap music. Let's compare it to rap music. Now, rap music, I can listen to for about, 30 seconds, maybe a minute if I have to. Say there's somebody pulls up in a car next to me and they got the rap music going. I can stand it for a few minutes. The heavy bass and all, that's fine. Okay? But at the end of the day, I want to leave. I want to get away from it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want anything to do with it. That's what happened last night. And again, I'm pulling for Joe. I really am. I am kind of pulling for him. He's a complete empty suit. This guy is nothing. I've gone into this before. I won't do it again. But I mean, if you think this guy's going to accomplish anything, you're out of your mind. So why listen to this? Okay? He lies through the entire thing. I did listen to some of excerpts this morning. Again, cringeworthy at best. You're telling lie after lie. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm going to go through this real quick, and then I want to talk about Ukraine because I had an epiphany the other day about this. What did he start off with? He's promising to do better in his second year. Yada yada yada. Whatever. Freedom will always triumph over tyranny. Okay, that was one of his lines, and he's trying to tell you that because of COVID, the COVID theater in the legislature, it's gone now. Isn't that amazing? Day before the State of the Union, we decided to drop all the mandates. Even California, I think Oregon's going to drop theirs. So mission accomplished. Okay, mission accomplished. They got done what they wanted, and trying this new world order thing out, one world government. What this is an attack on free speech. Bottom line, doesn't matter. That's another completely different story, but he's trying to tell me that powerful sanctions also stop Russia. I don't know what to stop Russia from doing because they still invaded Ukraine. And I tell you what, not to belabor the point on this particular instance, but explain to me what the CIA is doing. Okay? But they didn't see this coming. They should have known that he was going to do this for years. Well, for the life of me, I don't know why he didn't do it 6 years ago or 8 years ago, right after the coup in Ukraine. Why didn't you invade then? I don't know. But anyway, he goes now. Biden goes on. Oh, Russian dictator invading a foreign country. Oh, really? Well, what were we when we invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, Syria, Libya? Go down the list. I mean, it's such hypocrites. And here's the one this is the one that really got me, and this is the one that made me quit listening to it. Even in a replay, when he said, I'm always honest. He said, I will be honest with you as I always promised. Really, this guy doesn't know how to tell the truth, okay? So there's that. And again, I'm pulling for Joe, because if Joe does good, and the White House does good, and the country does good, I do good. But I can't stand there and listen to this and not comment on it. I'm always honest? Nonsense. Come on. Anyway, let's see. The American Rescue Plan worked. Give me a break. What, are you kidding me? That's not true. That's a complete fabrication that has nothing to do with reality. What else? Another one. Trump's tax cuts only help the rich. It helped me, and I'm middle class, C+ average, the whole story. It helped me. Okay. So it didn't just help the rich. I don't think it helped the rich at all, honestly, depending on where you define rich. Okay. If you're making $8 an hour and the guy down the street is making $25 an hour at a job, he looks rich to you. So I mean, how do you define that? It's all nonsense. And here's another one that I love was I created lots of jobs. No, you didn't. The jobs just came back. There's a big difference between a job coming back that was maybe there was a layoff, right, or whatever. That's not a new job. That just means that somebody new. There's a new. It's not a new job. It's the same job. Anyway, that was another lie as far as I was concerned. And buying American products is his top priority. If you believe that, then I've got a bridge to sell you because, believe me, Biden does give a rat's ass about America and American workers. He's more interested in China. That's why you haven't heard anything from China on this Ukraine thing until today. Yeah. Let's see. Here's another lie he told. Our economy roared back faster than almost anyone predicted. No, that's not true. That's a complete fabrication. That's a complete lie. No getting around it. That's not true. That did not happen. Let's see. Here's a good one. This guy knows nothing about economics whatsoever. He's saying that the solution to inflation is lower your costs. Lower your costs, not your wages. Yeah, Jesus. The stupidity here is just beyond belief. And I mean, people applauding this and yelling, USA, USA. The Democrats were doing that. Oh my God, give me a break. It's so cringeworthy, it's not even funny. It really is. Let's see. What did he say? My tax plan will lower costs and the deficit. Nonsense. That's not true. Anyone making less than $400,000 doesn't have to pay more taxes. That is absolutely not true. That is a fabrication as well. Oh, and here's another one. He said he's going to lower the cost of insulin. All right. Well, that's funny because he's saying that after he raised it. Okay. Amazing that you could say that out loud and no one calls you on it. And you know what the funny thing is about this? The thing that really amazes me, and the thing that I would watch the State of the Union. I would. Oh, one more thing. Or a couple more things. We'll do them right quick. Funding police is necessary. Oh, really? You think so, Joe? Boy, that's really, really good that you thought that was a good idea. What else? The right to vote is under assault. Now, Biden claims that the right to vote is under assault. That's not true. That is a fabrication. And each one of these I could do an hour on, okay? Each one of these particular subjects I could do an hour on. But I'm not going to. But that's complete BS. It just is. It's stupid. There's nothing you could say that would change my mind. The right to vote is not under assault. So go tell it to somebody else that cares, Biden. Another one was gun manufacturers are immune to lawsuits. I don't know where he got that. I don't know what he's talking about. If you're in a car accident, you can't sue the car manufacturer. I don't know what he's getting at. They're not immune from being sued if their gun blows up in somebody's face, or there's a malfunction and there's life lost or that kind of thing. I don't know what he's talking about. He's trying to make you believe that they just sell guns and they don't ever have to worry about being sued by anyone. It doesn't matter what that's nonsense. That's an absolute lie. It's a fabrication. Yeah, it's basically lying by omission. Same old story. But he never lies. So remember that. Joe never lies. He always tells the truth. In his world. In his world, I guess. And here was the one that was absolutely a piece of resistance. He said, we need to secure our border. No shit, Sherlock. That's brilliant. I'm glad you said that, Joe. The problem is you're never going to. That is not the way it works. That is not what you're after. You're going to say that and not do a damn thing about it. So it's hard for me to buy anything you say. Oh, and the final one that he did say was, actually not the final one. I've got a couple more. Abortion is healthcare. Okay? He said, if we want to move forward, not backward, we must protect access to health care. Preserve a woman's right to choose. Well, which is fine, but abortion is still murder. I don't care how you look at it. And I'm pro-choice. But at the end of the day, it's murder. You're taking a life that exists and it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know how she would define it. Okay? Now, should a woman be able to have an abortion in the first 6 weeks? I don't know. It's still up for debate. Officially today, it's still legal in the United States. But what the Democrats are wanting to do, they're wanting to move that goalpost out a little bit and make it into the 9th month. I'm sorry, I can't have anything to do with that. A viable fetus should not be killed, okay? So Joe's full of shit. He really is. Those were 17 absurd lies told during his State of the Union speech. The man is an empty suit. It's pathetic. Again, I would like for him to do good. That's impossible for a man who is this stupid, okay? Now, the one thing that they did leave out, which I thought was kind of interesting, and the Biden administration cut this line from the State of the Union speech, and that was endorsing a ban on Congress trading stocks, okay? And I find that interesting because he's telling me with a straight face that he tells the truth all the time. He's not. When you do not put the screws to these people making the kind of money they're making, and a lot of them are Republicans too, by the way. Okay, this isn't a partisan issue in my book. You should not be able to trade stocks when you're in Congress when you have insider trading or insider information. You just can't do it. Can't do it. It should be against the law. But they decided not to even put that in there. They pulled that out, which I find interesting. So if you want me to believe anything you're saying, anything at all, you need to do better than this, Joe. This was a dismal attempt at trying to get people on your side. I think the approval rating, people that approved highly, was like 40%, and it's the lowest it's been in 15 years. Speaking of that, 15 years ago, who do you think was in office? Okay, Obama. Okay, so what are we looking at here? I really don't know. It was embarrassing, is what it was. It was impossible to listen to. I mean, I listened to a small segment of it. I don't know how anybody survived listening to this. How do you tune this out? How do you tune this nitwit out? I don't know. And then you got these two idiots behind him. You know, Kamala that nobody likes, and Pelosi that I'm sure she thought she was at a play or something. She was rubbing her hands together like she was the evil witch. I don't know what was going on there. But anyway, that pretty much sums up the State of the Union address. A complete and total waste of time as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen anything like that. And we got two. Well, the thing is, here's the deal with Joe. And this is another epiphany I had. We're gonna have to live with this. Okay, there's no getting around it. When the doctor sometimes say you've got, maybe you had some teeth worked on, or maybe you had a minor operation, a minor procedure of some kind, and the doctor says, hey, it's going to be uncomfortable for a while. You'll be fine. Take these pills. It may be uncomfortable. You may feel, a little pain now and then. That's what this is. Okay. Joe Biden's administration is going to be a little pain. And maybe for some people a lot of pain, but we're going to have to get through it nonetheless. There's no getting rid of this guy. Even if he dies, we're going to have somebody even dumber take over for him. So there's really not much we can do. These stories about Trump coming back and taking off, you're dreaming. That's not going to happen. Okay, this is America. They go by the Constitution when they want to, and when they don't, they don't. So they don't want to do that. They don't want to go. They want to go by the Constitution on this one. You can't just walk in and take over the presidency. You can't. That's a dictatorship. Okay, and then we will be, in my opinion, a full-fledged banana republic if that would happen. And I certainly don't want that. Yeah. At the end of the day, I hate my government. I love America, but I hate the government. They're horrible. Every aspect, every nook and cranny in the government is horrible. There's no getting around that. They just are. Yeah. And sometimes they can't even help it. Sometimes they can't even help it. It's like a machine. It's like a rock rolling down the hill. There's just no stopping it, right? You just can't walk in and change everything. One man certainly can't. He just can't. It's gotten to the point now where it's beyond help, and I'm not 100% sure anything can ever be done about it. I could be wrong, but I've seen this play out several times, over the past few years, especially since 9/11. I think 9/11 was our downfall. That was the start of the reset. They're wanting to get everyone to become accustomed to censorship and the big brother invading your privacy. They would like to eliminate privacy to begin with because it's nothing but a nuisance to them. Free speech, that's out the window. They're slowly chipping away at it. And if this is any indication of things to come, it's going to be another do nothing administration, especially if the Republicans win in 2022 in the midterms. Not much will get done. Not much will get done. He can spout off all he wants. I mean, when the one thing that you're saying that you're going to go after is mental health in the United States, that's like chasing shadows. There's really no way to know when that actually works. Okay, you see what I mean? It's like low hanging fruit. It's a great subject, and it's a valid subject. I think most of the reason we have homelessness in America is because of the people off their meds and psychiatric issues. Well, at the end of the day, how do you know when that's solved? How do you know when you're making improvements on it? I don't know. It is. It's like smoke and mirrors. There's really no. It's like the war on drugs or the war on poverty. When do you know you won the war? Well, the thing is, you never do. Okay, that's why they love throwing money at these kind of things, because the tap never runs dry. It doesn't. It's great, and that's what Joe's setting up here. Yeah, he's going to go after guns. He's going to leave the border open. Tax cuts, forget that. They're going to be gone. He's going to do everything. What he said he's going to do there in every one of those particular subjects is he's going to actually do the opposite. So nothing's going to work. Nothing. Okay. You'll notice he didn't say anything about student debt. How about that? Not even mentioning it. Okay. Yeah, most of this speech was about Ukraine, which we're going to get into. May have to do it in the next segment. I think I'm going to do 2 of them today because I got a lot to talk about. So if you're listening to this one, I'll have another one in addition to this on Ukraine. I won't do any news on it because there's a lot I want to say about Ukraine because I've kind of had an epiphany on this. I kind of understand what's going on to some degree. I mean, believe me, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not saying that, but I have an idea that there are some things that I've thought, and we'll see if it plays out. But nonetheless, I appreciate you listening to this, and if you get the chance, share this with somebody else that you know that may enjoy it, and even if they don't enjoy it, maybe that'd even be better. If you get to somebody that you know is going to hate it, that way they can give me a hard time or send me an email and tell me I'm full of prunes. Okay. Whatever you want to do. But like I said, if you get the chance, forward it to someone and you know. I'd like to get a little bit of a audience. I got a little bit of an audience now that listens on a regular basis. So we'll see where that takes me. So if you get a chance, do that. I'm on. I post it on Facebook. But if you're listening here, I would prefer you listen to it on my website for the most part, if you get a chance. So and if you would like for me to. If you'd like to be notified when I'm doing this, you can put your email address on my website, and you will be notified daily. So anyway, that's all I got right now, and we'll go to the news, and I'll be right back.
This is the Average Joe Podcast. The Average Joe Podcast.
All right, first story I wanted to get to. I got 10 today, or 11 actually. I did 11. 141 countries vote to condemn Russia. The UN is condemning Russia, 141 countries. I think that's just about all of them, other than China. I think China abstained, and I believe India did too. And you can't really blame them. That's their main source of energy in the world. I can see that. They just abstained. They didn't vote nay. I guess they just didn't vote. So, let's see. Last night, only 41% of viewers reacted very positively to the State of the Union, which was the lowest in 15 years. And I don't doubt that a bit because, as I said earlier, Joe is not exactly your stellar orator. You know what I mean? At least when I really miss Trump. I really do. And not just because of his policies and everything, but just the way he delivered an address. He was actually better than Obama, I thought. Obama was a great guy. If you wanted to get one that looked like it was shot for PBS or NPR, yeah, you're great. But Trump, he's like the guy in the bar, raising hell about this and that and pointing fingers and naming names. I loved it. And again, I would be all for the State of the Union address if they were allowed to do it like they do in Parliament in Great Britain, where the president says something, and then he's lambasted by somebody in the crowd, and they boo and they holler and everything, and then they respond, and then he has the chance to respond. I love that stuff. It's like contact sport. That would be the way to go. But this mindless clapping when he says something that is a lie, but it's a democratic policy. Oh, we just love it. It's ridiculous. So that's why I don't watch it. Let's see. Number 3, Trump endorsed candidates are undefeated in primaries. Shoot, I don't even need to say any more about that. That's funny. That's hilarious. And I don't know what to tell you. What's that tell you about the country? What's that tell you? Just in the primaries, he's undefeated. Okay? So that's great. That's great. He's picking the right people. We'll see what happens in the general, right? Here's an interesting one that you may not know about. Scientists have found that COVID contains chunks of DNA that match sequences patented by Moderna 3 years before the pandemic began. So, in essence, that means they had part of this virus already patented. Okay, so that means that DNA came from somewhere in order to create the COVID virus. And that was 3 years before. This did not come from a wet bar or a wet place where they sell weird, what was that story they were trying to tell us right out of the gate about, oh yeah, it came from a wet market. Yeah, bullshit. I call bullshit on that one. Okay, no way that did that. Not when you've got DNA that matches something you had 3 years prior. That doesn't happen by accident. Okay. Let's see, number 5. I thought this one was funny. Alabama man ordered to return "Let's Go Brandon" license plates. Oh, God. The only thing that could be more choice on this is if that happened to me in Missouri. I would love this, okay? Why they're making this guy bring this back from Alabama? I would think that they would want this shown around the country. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter. You should have "Let's Go Brandon 1, Let's Go Brandon 2. You should be able to buy that every time. You should just add another space to it, and then you can just sell it endlessly. That very phrase. But anyway, nonetheless, that they're wanting it back. I guess they sent him his personalized plates, and now they're wanting him back because they found out what that means. Which I don't know where you've been for the last year, but I mean it's pretty obvious. To me, what that means, it's, F Joe Biden, but nonetheless, I just thought that was funny. Number 6, Synonyms overwhelmingly support nationwide law. Now listen to this. Senate Democrats overwhelmingly support nationwide law. Okay, they're overwhelmingly supporting this law. And what it does is it imposing abortion on demand for all 9 months. All 9 months, folks. Not just 3 weeks or 9 weeks or 3 or 6 weeks, whatever. No, they want it all. They want you to be able to kill a baby before it is born. Okay, and that's okay. You can do that, according to the Democrats. How you could be on board with this, I do not know. I really don't. Let's see. China won't back global sanctions against Russia. Well, there's a surprise. Of course they won't. They're funding it, for Christ's sake. What do you think's going on? They're not going to back global sanctions. They are the global. Look at anything you've got in your house right now. Pick it up and find out where it was made. From China, okay? You can throw all the sanctions you want at these guys. It's not going to matter. They've got China in their back pocket. You think Putin would have taken this on, this little adventure on, if it hadn't been for China in his back pocket? Of course not. Not a chance. And speaking of that, everybody's saying, what I'm getting at is, I'm having trouble. I'm reading something while I'm talking. Apparently, I can't do two things at once. But can you imagine? You've seen the Ukrainian military. They're pretty good. They're pretty formidable. Okay. Apparently, now if you can believe a portion of what you hear, and I'm not believing any of it anymore, so I'm just kind of dismissing it. They're talking about cluster bombs, and apparently Russia's using cluster bombs against them, and I mean, so the person's dead. So it matters on how they got dead. That doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. But nonetheless, the U.S. Army, this is our U.S. Army, okay, who's supposed to be badasses, okay? They're training their officers on gender identity. That's our main focus right now, is on gender identity, while the Ukrainians are fighting for survival. So we're interested in the blue hairs and the transgender sexual preferences, binary. I got a whole laundry list of those that I was going to talk about one day. Definitions of sexual definitions. You know all of them? LGBTQ plus and all. You have any idea what that means? I had no idea until I looked it up. Oh my God, we're so screwed up, it's not even funny. But anyway, I think the whole idea of that article was to just show that U.S. Army is not what it used to be. Okay, we're worried about gender identity instead of learning how to use a weapon, I guess. Or I mean, the military is there for two things. Military is produced and exists for two things. They're there to kill people and blow shit up. That's basically it. As far as this gender identity, all you're doing is weakening them, if you ask me. But let's see, number 9. Now this was in the no shit department. Okay, this is in that segment of no shit Sherlock. And when I read this, you'll understand why. I'm listing this as one of the most obvious stories I've ever heard in my life. It's out of Australia. Australia researchers find lockdowns were detrimental to mental health. Well, no kidding. Boy, I wonder how much they paid you to come up with that brilliant observation. Anyway, I mean, they could have paid me. I could have told them that. Yeah, that would. I bet I'd have done it. I'd probably done it for half of what they charged you. Half, and I don't even know what it was. I'd done it for half. Yeah, and believe me, there's not a whole lot of research you would have to go into this. You don't have to look very far. You can look in your own county. Okay, you can look in your own city, for that matter. Yes, lockdowns were detrimental to mental health. Yeah, and now we're talking about mental health. Isn't that interesting? In the State of the Union, we're going to focus on that now. Yeah, well, too late, because you've screwed up an entire generation. Wait until these 5 and 10-year-olds get to be adult age. You think you've had shootings and stuff like that, and man, you haven't seen anything yet. It's going to be unbelievable. Okay, here. Oh yeah, speaking of the pandemic, California and Oregon are going to lift their mask mandates on March 12th. Well, isn't that something? Right after the State of the Union address and right before the midterm elections. Because we're afraid that people in California and Oregon aren't going to like this much. They've about had it. Now, what they're figuring is, here it's March, okay, March 12th. March, you got April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 8 months before the elections. 8 months. Attention span of an average American anymore is that of a goldfish. So they're figuring most people are going to kind of forget about this by fall, okay? That's what they're banking on. Let's see. Oh, this was absolutely spectacular what went on here. I saw this, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but a television station. Now, this was a local station from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's Channel 4. It's WATE. They were doing a story. They were doing a story on it. An elderly man who's being accused of molesting a 12-year-old girl. And I don't know if you saw this or not, but they flashed a picture of Joe Biden up there while they were talking about this story. Classic. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I got to tell you, whoever did that, whether by mistake or on purpose, and especially if it was on purpose, that was brilliant. Brilliant, I say. Oh my God. And now it's making the rounds on YouTube, and I don't know if it's on YouTube though. They probably wouldn't allow that. Yeah. But on social media anyway. I tell you, that was one of the funnier ones I've seen in the past little bit. And I don't know how you get rid of that. I don't know how you do that, because that's going to be out there forever. And it pretty much sums up Joe's whole presidency at this point. He's got an illegitimate. Well, I mean, bottom line, and I'm not going to go into a lot of this because I don't want to recover the same ground. But I mean, as people have started maybe just started listening and stuff, I I want to get this out there. I'm no Republican, okay, and I'm no Democrat anymore. I guess I'm what you would call an independent, but I'm for common sense. Bottom line, and if you've been bad along the way somewhere, and I mean really bad, I think that should be brought up. And Joe has got a really bad habit of touchy and feely, okay, people he doesn't know, and I've seen it on TV, and it just makes your skin crawl. He's the kind of guy I would not let watch my kids over the weekend. I just wouldn't do it. The guy has got something seriously wrong with him. Sexually, anytime you marry your babysitter, and that's never good, okay? There's no good story that comes out of marrying your babysitter. You ask anybody. It's bad enough when you marry somebody that's 12, 15 years younger than you. Marry somebody that was your babysitter while your wife was still alive, okay? Yeah, and I mean, not getting married while she was alive, but I mean, in this case, she was killed in a car wreck, and he ends up marrying his babysitter, the one that took care of his 2 boys. That's creepy. That means something was going on prior to that. Don't tell me in any way anything else, because that's not true. So you've got that. You've got Hunter Biden, who is a complete and total degenerate that he raised, that Joe raised, turned out to be a complete and total degenerate. And on top of everything else, Joe's got a problem with touchy-feely to people he doesn't know. Not to mention Tara Reid claiming that he sexually assaulted her. None of this has been brought up. None of it. So Joe's gotten a real pass on this. Okay? If it had been any other candidate, that's why you know for a fact they wanted this guy in office. Sure, it was because of the ability to make him do whatever they wanted, but it tells you everything you need to know, because they had so much ammunition against this guy, not to mention what he's done in China, what he did in Ukraine, the things he said out loud, his gaffes, come on. That had been Trump doing that? Believe me, if there was a war going on and Trump went golfing for an afternoon, the mainstream media would have ripped him a new one. But Joe can go to Delaware and stay the weekend. You take the weekend off. The world's on a crisis here. We're on the edge of oblivion, and he's gonna take the day off the weekend off, and nobody's gonna say anything. That tells you everything you need to know right there about mainstream media. Not a word, not a peep. Okay. So anyway, that's all I got on this segment, and I will talk to you. Like I said, I'm going to have another one right after this, because I want to talk about Ukraine. All right, and you have a good day. We'll talk to you later. Remember, it's March 2nd, and Joe Biden is absolutely, beyond any doubt, the worst president in American history. Let's go, Brandon.
As always, thanks for listening to the Average Joe podcast. Be sure to check out our website at www.averagejoenation.media and follow us on social media. Remember, if you haven't told all your friends, you're wrong.